Across the sun-dappled meadows and quiet forest edges of temperate regions, the oil beetle moves with a deliberate, almost ponderous rhythm. Its body, dark and glossy, segmented and robust, seems ill-equipped for speed or stealth, yet in its own way, it is perfectly adapted to survive in an environment fraught with both predators and competitors. Belonging to the genus Meloe, this beetle has intrigued naturalists for centuries, not only for its striking appearance but also for the unique adaptations that allow it to endure in a world far more dangerous than its slow, waddling movements might suggest. The evolutionary lineage of the oil beetle stretches back millions of years, revealing a history shaped by chemical defense, parasitic life stages, and intricate ecological relationships. Unlike many insects that rely solely on flight or agility to evade predation, oil beetles have developed a potent chemical weapon known as Cantharidin, a blistering compound secreted from specialized glands. This substance, released when the beetle is threatened, deters birds, mammals, and even other insects from attempting to consume it. Such a mechanism allows the beetle to compensate for its otherwise limited mobility, effectively turning vulnerability into an advantage. The adult oil beetle typically feeds on the leaves and flowers of herbaceous plants, using its strong mandibles to consume foliage. This seemingly modest dietary habit, however, plays a subtle ecological role, regulating plant populations and indirectly influencing the availability of nectar for pollinators. While adult feeding may appear innocuous, the true marvel of the oil beetle lies in its reproductive strategy and larval development, a narrative of calculated risk, deception, and parasitic ingenuity that few insects rival. Reproduction begins with adults laying clusters of eggs in the soil, often in areas rich with flowering plants that attract bees, the unwitting partners in the beetle's next generation. The eggs hatch into highly specialized larvae, known as triangulans, which are mobile, sharp, and equipped with clawed legs designed for clinging. These tiny larvae embark on a perilous journey, seeking out visiting bees to hitch a ride. Once attached to a bee, the larvae are transported to the host's nest, where they gain access to stored pollen, nectar, and ultimately the bee's own larvae. This parasitic strategy ensures the young beetles develop in a protected environment with a secure food supply, drastically increasing survival odds. The oil beetle's coloration is another evolutionary adaptation that serves multiple purposes. Dark, shiny exoskeletons allow it to blend with shaded soil and plant matter, providing camouflage from predators during daylight hours. Contrasting orange or reddish highlights on some species may function as aposematic signals, warning potential predators of the beetle's chemical defenses. This dual strategy of concealment and warning represents an elegant balance between predator avoidance and survival communication. Social interactions among oil beetles are minimal in adulthood, as these insects are largely solitary. However, the dynamics of reproduction create brief periods of interaction, marked by courtship behaviors, chemical signaling, and carefully timed egg-laying. The female's choice of oviposition site is critical, as the larvae's success depends entirely on encountering suitable bee hosts. This reliance on another species underscores the complexity of the oil beetle's ecological niche, revealing a web of interactions that stretches far beyond the beetle itself. The oil beetle's life cycle is one of nature's most remarkable examples of parasitic adaptation and strategic survival. Upon hatching, the triangulan larvae must quickly locate a suitable bee host, a task that is fraught with peril. These larvae possess sensory adaptations that allow them to detect chemical cues from bees, including pheromones and floral scents that indicate a hive is nearby. Once a host is located, the tiny beetle clings tenaciously to the bee's body, sometimes riding for miles across the meadow before reaching a nest. This hitchhiking behavior is critical for survival, as the larvae are entirely incapable of independently finding the nutrient-rich environment needed to grow. Once inside the bee nest, the triangulan transitions into its next stage of development. Here, it feeds on stored pollen and nectar, gradually consuming resources intended for the bee's own offspring. This parasitic behavior ensures a secure source of nutrition in a protected environment, shielding the developing beetle from predation and environmental hazards. The oil beetle's strategy is both elegant and ruthless, a testament to the intricate evolutionary pressures that shape insect survival. It also illustrates a delicate balance. While parasitism can negatively impact local bee populations, it rarely threatens their overall survival, maintaining ecosystem equilibrium. Adult oil beetles, although visually clumsy, possess remarkable chemical defenses that compensate for their slow movement. When threatened, the beetle exudes Cantharidin, a potent blistering agent that irritates the skin and mucous membranes of predators. This chemical defense is highly effective, deterring birds, small mammals, and even other predatory insects. Cantharidin has fascinated scientists and humans alike for centuries, historically used in medicinal applications and, unfortunately, sometimes exploited for harmful purposes. In the natural environment, however, it serves a purely defensive role, allowing the beetle to occupy open habitats with reduced risk from predation. The habitats favored by the oil beetle are typically temperate meadows, grasslands, and open forest edges where flowering plants are abundant. These environments provide both sustenance and reproductive opportunities, ensuring that adult beetles can feed while also laying eggs in locations optimal for larval success. Seasonal changes, including temperature fluctuations and rainfall, affect beetle activity and reproductive timing, with adults emerging primarily during spring and early summer when flowers are most plentiful. Interactions with other species are central to the oil beetle's ecology. By relying on bees for larval transport, the beetle forms a complex ecological link, influencing pollination dynamics and the distribution of pollen within an ecosystem. Although this parasitism may reduce the number of bee larvae in some nests, it rarely destabilizes bee populations, demonstrating a finely tuned co-evolutionary relationship. Predators of adult oil beetles, including birds and small mammals, must contend with the chemical defenses, while competitors for floral resources include other herbivorous insects. The result is a network of interactions that highlights the beetle's niche as both a consumer and a participant in broader ecological systems. Despite their slow movement and seemingly vulnerable appearance, oil beetles have evolved strategies that minimize risk. Their cryptic coloration, combined with chemical defense, allows them to forage openly while remaining protected. During cooler temperatures or inclement weather, they may retreat to shaded soil or under leaf litter, conserving energy and avoiding exposure. Such behavioral flexibility underscores the species' adaptability, ensuring that even in fluctuating environmental conditions, survival remains feasible. Human interaction has become increasingly relevant for oil beetles in modern times. Collectors, entomologists, and educators often seek these beetles for study, education, or display, which has led to both increased awareness and potential overcollection in localized areas. Habitat destruction, particularly the conversion of meadows and grasslands into agricultural or urban areas, poses an additional threat. Conservation strategies emphasize habitat preservation, responsible collection, and public education, highlighting the beetle's ecological importance and its unique life history. The oil beetle's morphology is another critical aspect of its survival. Its elongated, soft-bodied form, combined with flexible segments, allows for movement through dense vegetation and narrow soil crevices. The exoskeleton, while not heavily armored, is sufficient to deter minor predation, particularly when coupled with the chemical defense. Antennae and sensory hairs aid in detecting environmental cues, facilitating navigation, locating mates, and identifying potential hosts for larvae. Every aspect of the beetle's anatomy reflects evolutionary solutions to the challenges of survival in complex terrestrial ecosystems. In terms of ecological role, the oil beetle contributes in multiple ways. By feeding on plants, it participates in herbivory that influences vegetation dynamics. Its parasitic larval stage interacts with pollinator populations, indirectly shaping pollination networks and the reproductive success of flowering plants. The combination of these activities ensures that the beetle is integrated into ecosystem processes, influencing nutrient cycles, species interactions, and habitat structure. Observing the oil beetle offers profound insight into evolutionary ingenuity. From chemical defenses and parasitic strategies to adaptive morphology and behavioral flexibility, the species exemplifies the diversity of survival mechanisms in the insect world. Its life story underscores the principle that intelligence and adaptability in animals need not always be visible in the form of speed or social complexity. In some species, survival is achieved through chemistry, deception, and the meticulous exploitation of ecological opportunities. As the life cycle of the oil beetle unfolds, the delicate interplay between its larval and adult stages reveals an astonishingly sophisticated survival strategy. Once the triangular larvae have successfully entered a bee's nest, they transition into a sedentary phase, feeding on provisions left for the bee's own young. This parasitic behavior, though seemingly destructive, is intricately balanced within the ecosystem. The beetle's impact is moderated by the number of larvae per nest and the natural resilience of bee populations, ensuring that the species neither overwhelms its host nor destabilizes the ecological community. During this vulnerable stage, larvae are protected from many external threats. Enclosed within the safety of the bee nest, they avoid predation by birds, mammals, and other insects. The sheltered environment provides stable temperature, humidity, and a constant food supply, allowing the larvae to grow and molt through successive instars. Their transformation is gradual, highlighting a life history strategy that emphasizes patience, timing, and opportunism. By the time the young beetle emerges as an adult, it is fully equipped with chemical defenses, robust mandibles, and the behavioral instincts necessary to navigate its terrestrial habitat. Adult oil beetles, despite their slow and deliberate movements, employ remarkable tactics when threatened. The secretion of Cantharidin, a blistering chemical, serves as both a deterrent and a signal. Potential predators, having experienced or learned to associate the beetle with pain, often avoid confrontation altogether. Birds, small mammals, and even other insects are affected by the toxicity, which provides the beetle with a unique survival advantage. This defense allows the oil beetle to forage openly on foliage, traverse open meadows, and even engage in brief interactions with conspecifics without undue risk. The habitat preferences of the oil beetle further highlight its adaptability. Meadows, grasslands, and forest edges offer abundant flowering plants, which serve as both a food source and as locations for egg deposition. The beetle's life cycle is tightly synchronized with seasonal plant and pollinator activity, ensuring that larvae have access to hosts when needed. Climate, rainfall, and temperature fluctuations influence the timing of emergence, feeding, and reproduction, demonstrating the species' sensitivity and responsiveness to environmental cues. Interactions with other species are critical to the oil beetle's ecological niche. Beyond parasitizing bees, the beetle interacts indirectly with pollinators, herbivores, and predators, forming a network of ecological relationships. Its selective herbivory helps regulate plant populations, while larval parasitism subtly influences bee reproductive success. Predators learn to avoid the toxic adults, and competitors for plant resources are balanced by spatial and temporal partitioning. The species thus occupies a multifaceted ecological role, linking trophic levels and contributing to the stability and resilience of its environment. Behaviorally, oil beetles demonstrate surprising intelligence and flexibility. Although largely solitary, adults are capable of detecting environmental cues, selecting optimal feeding sites, and locating mates through chemical signals. Their sensory adaptations, including sensitive antennae and specialized setae, allow them to navigate complex terrain, detect predators, and identify suitable hosts for their larvae. In doing so, they display an array of behaviors that extend beyond simple instinct, highlighting the nuanced survival strategies of even small terrestrial insects. From an evolutionary perspective, the oil beetle exemplifies the success of chemical defense, parasitic development, and adaptive morphology. These traits have allowed the species to thrive across a range of temperate habitats, despite significant predation pressures and environmental variability. The genus Meloe demonstrates remarkable diversification, with different species exhibiting variations in size, coloration, chemical potency, and host specificity, reflecting a long history of evolutionary experimentation and ecological refinement. The ecological role of the oil beetle is far-reaching. By consuming plant matter, it participates in herbivory that shapes vegetation composition. Through parasitic interaction with bees, it indirectly influences pollination networks, affecting the reproductive success of flowering plants. Its presence contributes to the complexity and balance of terrestrial ecosystems, illustrating how even a slow-moving, seemingly vulnerable insect can wield significant ecological influence. Finally, observing the oil beetle in its natural environment offers profound lessons in evolutionary strategy and ecological interdependence. From the precision of its chemical defenses to the ingenuity of its parasitic larvae, the species embodies a sophisticated approach to survival that combines patience, adaptability, and opportunistic intelligence. In doing so, it challenges assumptions about vulnerability and capability, demonstrating that in nature, even the slowest, smallest creatures may possess remarkable resilience and cunning. In the final chapter of the oil beetle story, the intricate balance between defense, reproduction, and ecological integration becomes strikingly clear. The adult beetle, slow-moving yet formidable, uses its chemical arsenal not merely for survival but as a signal to the environment, announcing its presence while deterring potential predators. This dual function of warning and protection exemplifies the evolutionary sophistication that defines the species. Cantharidin, the potent blistering agent secreted by the beetle, remains a marvel of natural chemistry, serving as a reminder of the ingenious solutions evolution can produce in response to predation pressures. The oil beetle's reproductive strategy continues to astound biologists. Its reliance on bees to transport larvae to safe nests is a delicate dance of parasitism and coevolution. Larvae must precisely locate a host, cling securely during transport, and successfully navigate the nest environment to access nourishment. Each step carries risk. Failure to find a host or survive the nest environment could mean the end of an individual's genetic contribution. Yet, through millions of years, this strategy has proven successful, enabling the oil beetle to maintain stable populations across suitable habitats. Beyond reproduction and chemical defense, the oil beetle's ecological role is subtle but profound. By consuming foliage, it influences plant community composition, while its larval parasitism indirectly affects pollination dynamics. Predators learn to avoid these toxic insects, creating behavioral adaptations within bird and small mammal populations. In these ways, the oil beetle interacts with multiple trophic levels, shaping the behavior and success of other organisms while reinforcing the complexity of the ecosystem. Human impacts, however, introduce new challenges. Habitat conversion, pesticide use, and overcollection for entomological purposes can disrupt local populations, highlighting the importance of conservation efforts. Protection of meadows, grasslands, and forest edges ensures that oil beetles can continue to perform their ecological functions while preserving the intricate life cycle that depends on flowering plants and pollinator species. Awareness and responsible stewardship are essential to maintaining the balance that has allowed this species to thrive for millions of years. In appearance, the oil beetle is a striking and enigmatic presence. Its dark, glossy exoskeleton, occasionally marked with red or orange highlights, provides both camouflage and warning. The adult's clumsy gait belies the efficiency of its chemical defenses and the precision of its reproductive strategy. Observing these beetles in the wild, one is struck by the contrast between apparent vulnerability and actual resilience, a reminder that survival is often a product of strategy and adaptation rather than speed or brute strength. The oil beetle's evolutionary story reflects the broader narrative of the insect world, a tapestry of adaptation, innovation, and ecological interdependence. Chemical defenses, parasitic development, and habitat specificity have enabled the species to persist despite predation pressures and environmental variability. Its life history illustrates the delicate interplay of factors required for survival, from individual sensory adaptations to complex interspecies interactions, painting a picture of nature's ingenuity in even the smallest creatures. Ultimately, the oil beetle embodies a paradox of nature, slow-moving yet cunning, toxic yet visually subdued, solitary yet intricately connected to other species. Its life cycle, from triangular larvae to chemically defended adult, offers insights into evolutionary strategy, ecological balance, and the creative problem-solving inherent in natural selection. By studying and appreciating this species, scientists and enthusiasts gain a deeper understanding of both insect biology and the broader ecological processes that sustain biodiversity. In conclusion, the oil beetle stands as a testament to evolutionary brilliance, illustrating how survival can be achieved through chemical ingenuity, behavioral adaptation, and ecological integration. It is a reminder that even the most unassuming creatures harbor complex strategies that allow them to endure, reproduce, and influence the ecosystems they inhabit. Across the meadows and grasslands, the oil beetle continues its silent journey, a toxic yet fascinating sentinel of the natural world.